Welcome back to my channel, Rock and Rollers, and thank you for watching. This is Carlos once again. If this is your first time to visit my channel, I am inviting you to please click the subscribe button below and we will rock and roll. In today's episode, I'm gonna talk to you about how, as a buyer, you can return the item back to the seller.
Carlos TV.
Heto na nga. So this one particular question I received on my channel from Jose Ayag. Hello to you. The question was, paano po mag-return ng product kasi maling-mali po? Thank you po sa makakasagot. Okay, I'm gonna answer your question. I personally have experienced several cases when a buyer wanted to return an item back to me as a seller. But before that, I'd like to establish the reasons why a buyer has to return the item back to the seller. Number one, the buyer received an item that is not hers. There may be several cases when a seller may have mistakenly stick a sticker to a parcel that doesn't belong to the buyer. Why does that happen? In one particular day, assuming that the seller is shipping out around 100 parcels, may mga cases dyan na tatlo ang pangalan na Sharon. May mga cases na dalawa, tatlo, apat ang magkakapangalan. And as much as we would like to perfectly stick the stickers to the right parcels, we're human, we commit mistakes, and that is not an excuse, yes. But it happens. So I'm just giving you an idea why that happens. Another reason why a buyer returns an item back to the seller is she received a damaged item. Okay? So a seller has the responsibility to ensure that the item he or she is shipping to the buyer is perfectly okay. You know what I mean? He or she has that responsibility. As online sellers, we have that responsibility. But of course, considering the volume of the parcels that you are shipping on a daily basis, you can at times miss those kinds of things. So when a buyer receives it, she'd be very disappointed, she'd be very upset. So the tendency is that she would request to return it back. That's another reason. Number three reason could be she received a wrong color, wrong variation, wrong designs, wrong whatever. Mali. Maling-mali. Assuming na nag-order siya ng isang item sa shop ng isang seller, kaya lang yung isang item na yon, it has a lot of variations. Say, iba-ibang mga colors, iba-ibang mga prints. It happens at times na accidentally, because you were trying to pack all the items or all the parcels in a specific period of time, parang nawawala ka sa wisyo. Inaantok ka, dahil napupuyat ka, dahil sa pagod. Sometimes, mistakenly nakukuha mo yung mga item na hindi naman talaga order ng buyer. So, the buyer will receive it, she'll be very upset, she'll be very disappointed, she'll be very frustrated again, so she'd like to return the item back. How are you going to return the item to the seller? First, you need to establish the need to return the item. If the reason behind you returning the item is something that's acceptable to the situation, assuming na nakatanggap ka ng mali, may damage yung mga item, etc. And maybe one of those reasons I mentioned, diba? What you will do is, you will have to reach out to the seller and talk to her or him how you can return the item back. The seller has to agree because, obviously, for a reason that you established. In most cases, the seller has to shoulder the shipping fee. However, if the amount of the item that you are planning to return back to the buyer or to the seller is not that expensive, maybe mas mahal pa yung shipping fee or something like that, the seller may not require you to return that back. That's why it's important that you reach out to the seller and try to establish the reasons why you are returning it back. Assuming that the seller is apologetic enough and say, okay, return it back, then talk about the process, how you can return the item back. However, if the seller would say, no need to return the item, it's yours, I'll refund you the amount, that's good. Okay? Second, assuming that you have already established the reasons for you to return, the seller has already agreed that you return the item back, then you can go ahead and start the process of returning it by going to the courier, okay, and ship the item back to the seller. Most of the time, the address is specified on the sticker, or it can be found in the airway bill inside the transparent pocket. Once you are able to ship the items back to the seller, please keep the receipt, take a photograph, send it to the buyer or to the seller, document it by chatting it through Shopee. That can be a proof that you already have sent the item to the seller. It is also where the seller can see how much you have paid for the shipping fee. While in transit, you can also track the movement of the item. Once the seller receives the item, then you can already make a follow-up to the seller so that he or she can already initiate the process of refund. So that is how you ship an item back to the seller. Thank you for watching.